Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Angiosperm Morphology course. In the previous few videos, we discussed buds and their classification according to different criteria. And now we are going to start the discussion of branching in stem. The branching in plants is basically of two kinds, and that is dichotomous and lateral. This particular branching is a primitive one, and it is found mostly in the lower plants, like in bryophytes, pteridophytes, and so on. It's very rare in angiosperms. Now, dichotomous branching is such that, for example, this is the stem. So the stem divides at its tip into two branches. So these are two branches which arise from the tip, and they too branch in the same manner. That is, the two branches that are formed, they branch in the same manner, and the process is repeated. So we have a situation somewhat like this. So this is dichotomous branching. The stem branches at its tip into two branches, and then those branches divide in the same manner, pair of branches, and the process is continued. This is known as dichotomous branching. It is a primitive one found in, for example, bryophytes and pteridophytes and algae and lower plants. In higher plants, especially in angiosperms, it is supposed to be present in pandanus, also known as screw pine, a common ornamental plant. It's a small sized tree, and mostly it is grown in pots as an ornamental plant, so it doesn't grow very tall, a tropical plant. So pandanus or screw pine, it bears dichotomous branching. The next one is the lateral branching, and this is the most common type found in angiosperms. So what is lateral branching? When stem gives off branches from its side. So what is the side of the stem? That is in the axils of the leaf. So these are buds, and these buds grow into branches. So this was a bud, and now this bud has grown into a branch. It has a terminal bud. So lateral branching, when branches arise from the side of the stem. So what do we mean by side? That is in the axils, in the axil of a leaf. So branches arise in the axil of a leaf, as we have this axillary branch arising in the axil of a leaf. This is stem, and this is a lateral branch or lateral shoot, and this is a leaf. So as you can see, this branch is arising in the axil of a leaf. So this is a lateral branch. Lateral branching is of two types, and as I just said, lateral branching is the most common mode of branching in angiosperm. Lateral branching is of two kinds, and that is racemose and cymose. So what is racemose? In racemose, the main stem, it continues to grow. This is the main stem. It is growing and it has an apical bud at its apex. And these are nodes, and at the nodes we have leaves. And from these nodes in the axils of the leaves we have branches. So this branch is of a large size, and as we proceed upwards towards the apex of the stem, the size of the branches decreases. So they have apical buds, say. So in racemose branching, what happens that the stem, it continues to grow somewhat indefinitely and gives off lateral branches. Now, as you notice in this small diagram, that the branches, their size is mostly smaller than the main stem. The main stem is of much larger size or length, whereas the lateral branches, they do not exceed the main stem in size. They usually remain smaller in size than the main stem. So it gives off lateral branches, and those lateral branches do not exceed it, that is the main stem, in size or in length. So this is a very simple definition of racemose branching, that the stem continues to grow and it gives off lateral branches in the axils of the leaves, and those branches do not exceed the main stem in size. And as you can see, we have, as I just told you, these are older branches. So older branches are towards the base of the stem, towards the lower side, whereas the younger branches, they are towards the apex. This is a common mode or common way, and a term is dedicated to it, and that is known as acropolis succession. So acropolis succession is a mode of branching, or whatever the case might be. Older, since we are discussing branches, so older branches, they are towards the base of the stem, and the younger ones towards the apex, of the stem. It's a very simple concept. This is known as acropolis succession. You can state it the other way around, that is younger branches towards the apex and older branches towards the base. That doesn't make any difference unless you don't change the order. That is, if you say that older branches are towards the apex and younger ones towards the base, then it's wrong. So whatever of these two is stated first, it doesn't make difference. All you have to say that older branches, they remain, or they are born towards the base of the stem, whereas the younger ones are towards the top or towards the apex of the stem. Now in racemose branching, as you can see, we have one main axis, single main axis, and in racemose branching, this is known as Monopodium or Monopodium, however you like to pronounce it. Monopodium, since it's a single, mono, one, single, and pod for foot, so this is the main foot or main supporting structure of the plant. And since we have a single stem, the main stem is one, and although it has lateral branches, but the main stem is single, so it is known as monopodium. And keeping in view this term, the racemose branching is also known as monopodial or monopodial. Monopodial mode of branching. So it is monopodium, the main stem, and the branching is also known as monopodial branching or racemose branching, and the branches are given off in acropolis succession. And one of the most common example is brassica. You can also give example in Ranunculaceae family like Larkspur, Delphinium ajacis, and obviously there are many other plants which have racemose branching or monopodial branching. So this was an introduction to branching, its basic kinds, and then a brief description of the first kind, racemose. This is the first kind of the lateral branching. More about branching, especially the cymose and then its kinds, it will be discussed in the next video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.